Well, hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the launch of the Florida Gulf Coast Real Estate Channel. My name is Jeff Stewart. I'm a 15-year veteran of the real estate industry. So you could say that I've seen pretty much every market that we've had here in the last 15 years. We've had everything from the great housing recession of '07 to '09 into the COVID era real estate boom where mortgage rates were under 3% and housing prices were just going through the roof and everything in between. So I wanted to take this time to put this channel together to be able to help provide insight, information, and just create an open dialogue with you guys and hopefully provide some value as to some of the things I've seen, some of the areas and ways that I can help, and really just to connect with more people. I love helping. There's nothing quite like the purchase of a real estate investment, whether that be your personal residence, whether that be a vacation property, an investment property, selling a home and relocating. Here in the Florida Gulf Coast, we have a lot of active military with the proximity to the military bases here. So whether that's a family moving in just for a temporary amount of time and then moving out and wanting to maximize your family lifestyle and your investment, all those things come into play, and I love being able to be a part of that. I've gotten very fortunate to be able to do that both in the Dallas, Texas area and here in Florida now in the Gulf Coast for about the past 3 years. So a little bit about me and my background. As I said, I got into the business right at the height of the recession in 2008. So that was an interesting time to learn the business. If you remember that, we were just coming out of, or I guess entering into this, what's now considered the Great Recession. And what happened was there was some predatory lending going on. There was not a lot of regulation as far as what banks and lenders could do as far as their programs, who they could qualify. Wasn't a lot of oversight to that. So they were coming up with these loans that were sometimes no credit check, no job check loans, which sounds insane, but it was kind of what was going on because they were just stocked with cash, wanted to loan this money. What it was, though, a lot of them was called adjustable rates. So the rates would start in one area and move up and down the next few years. People didn't really know what they were signing up for. Some people were just unaware, I guess, of the cost of what home ownership was going to be and what the mortgages were going to be. You had layoffs, obviously, with some of the collapses of the financial institutions in the country. So there was a lot to that. So out of that then became this kind of crazy time where you had a flood of foreclosures in the market. Now, this was nationwide, but every area was a little bit different as to how it was affected. The housing market as a whole was very affected, but depending on where you were at, some areas were affected a lot worse than others. You had people that were upside down on the value of their home, meaning they owed more than the home was worth and what they could sell it for. So you did, along with job losses and just the economic turmoil, you had a turnover of all those things. So I thought, this is a great time to get into the real estate market. So that's kind of my background. I started there. I'm from the Dallas, Texas area, suburb of Dallas there. So I was doing real estate there in Dallas at that time. Dallas was not quite as affected as some of the other areas of the country, but nonetheless, everybody was feeling that. So fast forward to a couple years after that, I started working for a company that was doing a lot of listings for Fannie Mae foreclosures. So these were homes that Fannie Mae, who is the government insured part of the mortgage market, meaning the secondary market. So when you have a loan and get a mortgage on a home, most likely the person that lent you that money is not going to keep that loan and service it. They're going to sell it to somebody else who's going to service that loan for you. So that's what was happening. Fannie Mae is the government backed company that insures these loans against foreclosure. And if they are foreclosed upon, then they become a Fannie Mae asset to then figure out what to do with. So at the time they were putting these homes on the market, they were fixing them up a little bit cosmetically, doing some of the repairs, and then putting them back on the market. So That's what we did. The guys I worked with were listing those properties, so I was helping a lot of buyers who were interested at this time in 2010, 2011, coming in and finding some homes that were not necessarily below market, but being able to be picked up for a lot less than they were a few years prior, and was able to help a lot of buyers that way. And they had some instant equity. In the next couple of years, they had tens of thousands of dollars of equity as things started to shift. So in 2012, I went to work out in Forney, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas, about 20 miles from downtown Dallas. And that was a really growing area. There I connected with a great friend and mentor who taught me a ton about the business. And that's when things started really taking off as far as the markets were getting better. Home builders were coming back into the market. If you remember, that's when a lot of the home builders that were highly leveraged, meaning they had a lot of loans out on these homes, they were borrowing a lot of money to build and complete these homes. Well, a lot of those were the homes that fell into foreclosure. So you had building kind of stop for a while, which is actually why we still have the shortage that we've had the last few years, is because of almost 10 plus years ago, just the building wasn't happening that we've traditionally had and historically had. So that was a great time. I got to help an amazing amount of families and people move into the area. And again, you could still find a $150,000 really nice family home at that time. So it's tough to find that now in most major metropolitan areas for sure. So it's interesting times to have gone through that, helped so many people with that. So yeah, I did that for a few years, and then in 2017 decided to go out on my own. I obtained my brokerage license, my broker license, and opened up a brokerage that we still operate today, SRG Homes DFW. And we have a team of agents there. I'm still active in the Texas market and have past clients and current clients that I work with, and it's great. It's a great time. I love Dallas. It's a great city. So much to do, so much that is great about living there, as far as the job market, as far as the availability of housing, as far as the culture. You've got major sports teams. You've got it all. I love being from Dallas and love going back as often as I get to. So fast forward a little bit to 2020. My wife and I decided to make a move to the Florida Gulf Coast. That area had really been calling our name since about 2013, and we were visiting and kept extending our visits as long as we possibly could, longer and longer, until finally when COVID happened and kind of shuffled the deck for a lot of people, it started to kind of turn our gears in our head about what we wanted to do, where we wanted to be, all those kinds of things. And so later on in 2020, we ended up making the move out here. So I was able to get my broker license here in Florida as well. So I have a broker license in both states. There are some differences. There's a lot of similarities, though, wherever you go. Buyers are looking for the best homes at the best prices, and sellers are trying to sell their home for the top of the value and try to do as little work to them as they can. And so that's kind of the same wherever you go. There are a little bit, just differences in the details. A lot of that we'll get into in further videos on this channel. I wanted to just introduce myself and tell you a little bit kind of about my background and how I'm hopefully suited to help you out, just with the vast experience that I've been able to have through real estate. I've done, tons of transactions. I've seen tons of things. There's a lot. No two transactions are alike. It's about people. It's about the clients and customers, buyers and sellers. You've got a lot of money involved as far as the financial institutions go. Sometimes you've got a cash transaction, but a lot of times you're borrowing that money. So there's just a lot of moving parts, and what it takes is really someone who knows kind of how to navigate those things, how to facilitate those things, how to communicate those very well, to understand what's involved in these processes, and understand underlying market conditions and just the options and things you run into, because you do run into them. Those of you that have bought and sold homes before, you knock on wood, you hope that things are going to go as smooth as possible, and sometimes they do. But a lot of times you're going to want somebody in your corner who kind of has a handle on what to do, how to walk you through the situation, and that's what I'm able to do. And so, like I said, I hope to be able to connect with a lot of you guys here looking to move to the area, either in Dallas or here in Florida, where I'm located now. And just to inform too, I think there's a lot of interesting things here about this area. You have kind of a lot of different markets going on. I already mentioned the military market. There's so many bases here, naval bases, Air Force bases. And in the area that really employ a lot of our active service men and women, and also a lot of our veterans, retired servicemen and women who stay working at the bases, now go into the contract labor force and things like that. So you have a lot of movement in the market because of those things. You've also got, obviously, with the beach and the beach town and lifestyle, you've got a lot of condos, you've got a lot of vacation rentals, you've got a lot of what's called second homes, people that want to either have a second home to visit to when they want to, or also be able to potentially rent that out and let some of that mortgage, if there is a mortgage, be paid by the rental income that generates. Obviously, that's huge here. You've got Pensacola Beach, Navarre Beach, Gulf Breeze, Destin, 30A, Rosemary Beach, Seaside, down into Panama City Beach. You've got the whole stretch here, the Gulf Coast right here at the Panhandle, where you've got beautiful, just the best beaches in America, some of the best beaches in the world, in my opinion. And you've got that right here, and you still have an affordable cost of living. You still have kind of the amenities that you would get in suburban life. Not as much in the bigger cities. It's not a huge metropolitan area, unfortunately, as I do miss a lot of those things about Dallas, the restaurants, some of just the sporting events and things like that, just the larger scale concerts and things that you don't get as much here. But it is a different lifestyle, and it's a great one. So if you're looking for what could be kind of a more laid back lifestyle sometimes, and more of the beach vibe that you can get, you can certainly find that here. So it's an interesting market. And then you have people that just live and work here, that are raising families, or that are retirees and want to downsize and just enjoy condo life or townhome life, or maintenance free homes and things of that nature. So you really have a lot. So it's very interesting to me to see just the convergence of all those things. And so I love to dig into that stuff. It's been fun to learn that the last 3 years, just those pieces of it, and really just to be able to help those in all stages of life kind of navigate those challenges. So what I'm going to look forward to do is kind of digging into some of the areas. I really want to dig into some of the processes and procedures and understanding some of the terminology and things that we get into. Some of the stuff, it might not seem super exciting, but it is kind of interesting, just the process of it. And especially if you're a first-time buyer or haven't moved in a while, or you just want to make sure that somebody has your back that understands all that goes into this stuff. That's kind of what this channel is going to be about. Obviously, there's some beautiful, beautiful parts of the Gulf Coast here that I want to show you. We'll get into some different areas of the beaches and the vacation rentals and the investment property side of things. Obviously, there's a lot of potential there that you can do. But I might even dig into some of the just food places and hidden gems along the coast. Obviously, when you're looking to move to an area, that's an important part, and something that you're very curious about what it has to offer. Pensacola is kind of the biggest city in this area. It's got an awesome downtown. It's got a AA baseball team. There's quite a lot to do, some great restaurants and things like that. Beautiful beaches there right across on Pensacola Beach and into Perdido Key. Some awesome places. So I hope to interact with you guys as you jump into the channel and answer your questions that you might have and dig into some of the topics that you guys will find interesting. So go easy on me. It's my first dive into the YouTube channel world, but I think it's an awesome way to kind of showcase this area to help inform you guys as buyers and sellers, and like I said, connect with as many of you as I can, and as we can grow this community together. I look forward to it. So next video will be dropping very soon. Hope you have an awesome day. Look forward to meeting you guys and getting rolling here on Florida Gulf Coast living.